When you think about the NES, you probably remember the gameplay, the pixel art, and the way these games defined an entire generation of gaming. But for me, one thing stands out just as much: the music. Those chiptune melodies didn't just complement the experience, they became part of our childhoods. Today, we're counting down the top 10 NES soundtracks, celebrating the games that didn't just give us a single iconic track, but whole collections of bangers that still hold up decades later. If you're ready to follow the tunes of your childhood, strap in and make sure your headphones are snug. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring that notification bell, because there are plenty of other great songs to explore on the NES and beyond. Before the sprawling orchestras of later entries, the NES gave us Final Fantasy in its purest, most chiptune form. Nobuo Uematsu's first major outing on the series was likely one of the reasons that fans grew to love this game, and the worlds that were built alongside them. Some of this music has persisted throughout the years, and it still has the power to send chills up your spine. The prelude has such a magical presence, giving it an almost ethereal feel. It's evolved plenty over the years, but even in its inaugural presentation, it still has the means to get you amped for the story to come. Another song from the original game's soundtrack that has continued to show up in other games in the series is the Final Fantasy theme. This one has grown so powerful over the years that it has the power to really get your blood pumping and give you goosebumps. Even back in 1990, it had orchestral flair carried out in those chiptunes. While other tracks like Castle Cornelia, the main overworld theme, and the Chaos Shrine are iconic even after all these years, we're going to end on the Victory fanfare. It's a notion that's carried over to most Final Fantasy games, and this one knew the assignment, really giving out a tune that celebrates a hard-won battle. This game is famous for almost being a Terminator title. Sunsoft pivoted just a bit in order to make it its own thing, so it only has traces of its history intact. But Journey to Silius' soundtrack is the real reason it's remembered. Naoki Kodaka and the Sunsoft team made the NES sing like few others could, and their talent is a prime reason that you'll end up seeing them a few times on this list. The Stage 1 theme is an absolute earworm, and sets the tone with a driving beat. Seriously, it sounds like this would be something that would fit in a racing game of the time very well. It doesn't remain in the same loop for very long, showing a complex and rich tune that gets your blood pumping as you deal with some cybernetic baddies. Stage 2 keeps the momentum going. This theme had a great tempo that still keeps you moving, but it also changes things up with a moodier vibe, layering down what has become iconic Sunsoft bass lines. It definitely evokes those underground sounds, and it's easy to get lost in it. Even the boss music has this sense of weight and urgency that feels way ahead of its time. It also sounds a bit akin to some of what you hear in Metal Gear by Konami, another developer who really knew how to make addictive tunes on the NES. But we'll get to that later. Sunsoft shows up again, because let's be honest, their audio engineering was legendary. Batman on NES has no right going this hard. Whereas plenty of other licensed games just lean into the music that exists, and let's be honest, Batman '89 had its own earworms because of Danny Elfman, Sunsoft gave the Batman game its own identity through incredible sound design. The first stage hits you with driving synth rock energy that perfectly matches the game's fast-paced wall-jumping action. It's become some of the most iconic music of the generation. And as Sunsoft is known for, it's another case of a rich and varied track. Stage 2 slows things down a bit, but still keeps things sounding punchy. Whereas Journey to Silius had some resemblance to Metal Gear in one of their tracks, Stage 2 in Batman feels like it vaguely references another set of comic book heroes, as there's a bit of the original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles that you can feel here. And that final boss track, pure adrenaline. And funny enough, it sounds like boss fights from both of the aforementioned Konami games a bit. Again, it doesn't sound too much like the Batman that we knew outside of this game, but somehow it just works. We're wrapping up Sunsoft's portion of this list with one of my favorite games. Blaster Master's soundtrack is as adventurous as its genre-blending gameplay. You can't talk about this game without bringing up its incredibly catching tunes. Because the zones are so varied, you get a lot of different feelings throughout the experience. Area 1's upbeat exploratory theme makes you want to dive headfirst into Sophia 3, and it gets you pumped to go all over the place as you search for the boss of the area. It's a perfect introductory song, and it sets the tone for the rest of the adventure. Area 2's castle theme is fun, but the factory theme in Area 3 is absolutely stellar, and it makes the previous zone seem almost boring by comparison. It's vastly different and lets the player know that the game isn't restricted to one feeling. It leans into a more futuristic vibe, and it's 100% an earworm. Honestly, all the other tracks are really good, from the intro to the boss music, but the next one that strikes a nostalgia hit for me is the Catacombs in Area 4. It very much gives the "I'm going to go scrounging for my pet frog" vibe, and even though you don't find him until a little later, it sort of reminds you of that part of your quest here. You want drama? Ninja Gaiden delivers, and not just in its cinematic cutscenes, but in its pulse-pounding score. It certainly doesn't have a period-based feel, at least not in the beginning when you're moving through more urban locales. But there really is a lot of ground to cover, because though it's a relatively short game, all things considered, it has a lot of great music. Let's check it all out. The first stage theme, Pushing Onward, is a classic. It's tense, driving, and instantly sets the tone for Ryu's journey. And then the drums kick in and it really gets your blood pumping. The Act 4-2 track, Unbreakable Determination, has this desperate racing feel that makes every jump and slash feel critical. Ninja Gaiden is fast-paced and frenetic, and this tune makes sure the player knows it. This one sticks in your brain well after you've put the game away, and in a lot of ways, I feel it represents the first entry best among all the songs. Seeking Truth is a track that's used for a cutscene and the 5-3 stage, which perhaps more than any other, has bore its way into my brain far enough that this is the song that pops up when I think of Ninja Gaiden. You can't have an NES music list without mentioning DuckTales. Sure, everyone knows the Moon theme, and we'll get to that, but the whole soundtrack is gold. It's a short game, which means they didn't have a tremendous amount of tracks, but there's really no weak link here, meaning the music shines as only a duck with a money bin could enjoy. The Transylvania theme delivers catchy, adventurous energy right from the start. Unlike the Amazon track, which is also pretty good, this one captures the vibe especially well. The haunting use of the sound card really makes it pop and immerses you in this part of the world. The Himalayas track is perfectly chill, and is a great change of pace. It has an almost slippery feel, perfect for all that snow and ice in the area. It also has a higher pitched sound that evokes the height of the mountain range that you're searching for treasure in. And yes, the moon theme deserves every bit of love it gets. It's legendary for a reason. It's one of the most adventurous tracks in the game, a soaring song, if you will, and it perfectly encapsulates the greatest achievement that an old penny-pinching mallard can make in an 8-bit game. Haunting, gothic, and unforgettable, Castlevania gave us a soundtrack that practically defined horror on the NES. It was the start of some tremendous series-spanning tunes, and each stage tends to live rent-free in a lot of people's minds because of it. Even the smaller, punchier themes like the boss and victory tunes are great, but let's give special attention to 3 great stage themes. Vampire Killer kicks things off in the first stage with heroic energy wrapped in dark overtones. You can almost sense the sky darkening, and feel the gates of the castle creaking open. Wicked Child is a relentless earworm that carries you deeper into Dracula's castle. At this point, you've made your way through a pair of bosses, and things are only going to get harder from here, so this song feels like it's telling you how to be persistent in the face of evil. Heart of Fire is another song that's persevered across the series. It's a bit more somber, but it really picks up the pace around the half-minute mark, and gets the player pumped from there on. It's actually transcended series, and even showed up in Vampire Survivors for a crossover DLC pack. Koji Kondo had already changed gaming music forever with the first Super Mario Bros., but Super Mario Bros. 3 was like a victory lap of musical brilliance. He had even more of a chance to shine in this game, because there were over 30 tracks, and that doesn't account for the hurry-up versions of the songs. There's a good chance that if you hear a few notes from these tracks, they'll be stuck in your head for a week. The Grassland Overworld theme is pure happiness. Honestly, that Nintendo Alarmo clock should have gently woke you up with a slow fade into this every day, and everyone would have been much happier for it. The Fortress track brings just the right amount of tension without losing that Mario charm. It's a bit slower, a bit more redundant, but it sells the idea that things are more dangerous in the fortresses. And it leaves plenty of room for the more adrenaline-filled boss themes. While the first Overworld theme is fun, it's a little reserved. It's still great, but it doesn't hold a candle to the Athletic theme. which plays on levels that might need a little more precision with platforming. It's impossible to hear it and not smile. If the first Castlevania set the tone, Dracula's Curse cranked it to 11. This is Konami's sound team at their peak. With more gameplay opportunities, there needed to be more music, and there are a ton of bangers here. And once again, they've persevered throughout the years. Beginning is an epic opening that lets you know you're in for a fight. While Leon Belmont is chronologically the oldest in the clan, Trevor is one of the most famous, having appeared in multiple games and an animated show. This theme is intrinsically linked with Trevor, which is not a bad leitmotif to have at all. Aquarius is one of the best water-level tracks ever, period. It has a floaty sound that's perfect around the sunken city while you're smacking around Sahagins. It's made its way to several other games in the series, as well as an epic mix of the song in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. And while there are so many other choices, and we're likely going to have differing opinions in such a large soundtrack, one of my other favorites is Riddle. The music sets the stage before the difficulty ever really kicks in, almost like it's a reward the game is offering you before all your hard work is set to begin. It couldn't be anything else. Mega Man 2 isn't just the best NES soundtrack, it's one of the best soundtracks in gaming history. There's not a bad song in the bunch, from the introduction to the ending, but the stage music is on point no matter which Robot Master you choose. I always started with Metal Man, so let's jump in here. In the sort of factory setting that you find yourself in, it's got a very mechanical melody. Like, you can almost hear the gears moving the sound into place. It's one of those tunes that just grabs you and won't let go. The Airman theme is another one that just jams into your ears when you hear it. And just like with Metal Man's stage, it completely fits the vibe. You're way up in the sky, and it has a nice floaty sound, really immersing you into the game instead of just being a good tune. We go the opposite way with Bubble Man's theme, and listen to sounds that feel a little floaty in a downward direction. It has that watery feel that's slick and snappy, and it really gets you pumped up to fight big robotic fish and dodge dangerous spikes. Many other games have had just 3 tracks that we've highlighted, but the champ gets a 4th spot to shine with. The first Wily Castle stage music is a spectacular track that sits with you long after you beat the stage. There's a reason that he's called Rockman in Japan, and this is the jam that settles it. The music on the NES wasn't just background noise. It was the heart of these games. Composers were working with a tiny handful of channels and a limited sound chip, and they still managed to create timeless, emotional, and downright catchy music. What are some of your favorite NES soundtracks? Did they make the list, or do you think another game deserves the top spot? Let me know, and as always, thanks for listening. Keep your gaming spirit and these chiptunes alive, and we'll see you for another Top 10 soon. If you're looking for more NES Top 10 content, we've got you covered. We're also working on adding new SNES content to our channel. And if you'd like to get a mix of all of our Top 10 content, we've got a mega playlist here as well.